Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Sector, the stock markets, and of course the economy. And to speak to us more about what one can expect and what is the maneuverability the government has, joining us is Jayant Sinha, Minister of State, Civil Aviation. Good morning, Mr. Sinha. Thank you very much indeed for joining us at what must be a very busy hour for all of you. Well, first up, is there maneuverability? As we've been discussing with the economists, there is a rising crude price syndrome that the finance minister has to tackle. So is it unrealistic to expect any stimulus, fiscal push?
You know, the way you need to look at the budget at this point is not necessarily in terms of the economic narrative or what the stock market is expecting or which sectors are going to do better or which sectors are going to do worse. That's in fact the wrong lens by which to look at the budget at this point. As far as the economic context is concerned, that's been brilliantly presented in the economic survey. But what is much more important right now is, rather than looking at it from the economic lens, is to really look at the political context. We've now gone into the election season. We have 8 very important state elections this year, and then very quickly thereafter we have the Lok Sabha elections. So really you have to look at this budget much more as a political document, as a political statement, and the messages that it sends out to different voters, and view it in that light, rather than looking at it purely from the point of view of what it's going to do for the stock market, for various companies, and to bond yields. So the perspective has to change quite a lot as you look at this particular budget.
Mr. Sinha, that's a little scary. Scary in the sense only from a stock market point of view. I think from an economy point of view, that's fine what you are saying. But you know, this would mean there can be an inheritance tax, there can be estate duties, you want to call it that way, or there can be long-term capital gains. Because after all, politically, you know, the government would like to take from those who have and give it to those who have not.
I would not go there, Lata, because the reality is that if you look at our fiscal policies and the manner in which the government has conducted itself as far as the economy is concerned, I think that has demonstrated great prudence. And in fact, even from a political perspective, that is the right way to proceed. Good economics also mean good politics. And the reason for that, of course, is that, you know, if you engage in too much sort of fiscal spending, you, of course, and particularly in this environment, raise the specter of inflation. You bring in certain pressures into the economy that you don't want to bring in at this stage. So I think, again, as we've demonstrated in all the budgets that we've done so far, and I'm sure we'll demonstrate this time as well, we are going to have a budget that is very well balanced when you look at it from all its different dimensions, from all its different facets. But really, the more important way to look at the budget, as I said earlier, is as a political document, not as an economic document.
Okay, Mr. Sinha, good morning. You are being very candid today. So, you know, just a while back we were discussing that in this kind of environment, is sale of Air India then possible? You know, if you're talking about big state elections and the focus being there, that will have a bit of, resistance. So that's something that the market would want to know. Also, it's important from economist's point of view.
We've laid out the roadmap for the privatization of Air India, and I've discussed that in the media many times. It was highlighted in the economic survey as well as one of the major reform initiatives for the government this year. And we are moving forward as far as that roadmap is concerned. We will soon be having the information memorandum for that particular transaction out within the next few weeks. And our hope is that by the end of June, we will in fact have a winning bidder. And then, of course, we'll close the transaction by the end of this year. So we are committed to those deadlines, and we are moving forward on that roadmap.
Okay, that's an important headline. What could be the other methods of revenue mobilization? I'm talking about some non-tax sources, because, you know, this time around divestment has gone through smoothly. You've met your targets and more. Are we looking at a lot more by way of divestment, aggressive targets, stake sale in PSUs, SUTI, or even, you know, a second phase of the Bharat 22 ETFs? I'm just trying to understand what could the non-tax sources of revenue be for the government?
In the morning of the budget, I'm not going to speculate about what's in the budget and what's out of the budget, or even, what might be there. We'll just have to wait for 11 o'clock when the Honorable Finance Minister starts the budget speech. What I'm trying to help you all understand at this stage is what is the appropriate context? How do we really think about this budget? How do we determine whether this budget is successful or not successful? I think that's really the perspective that we should be taking at this point. As I said earlier, I'm not going to speculate about what's in the budget or not.
No, you don't. But Mr. Sinha, you said it will be. If you look at it in the political context, you interpret it for us. What is a political budget?
No, the political context, of course, is, as I said, we have a series of elections coming up in Meghalaya, in Tripura, in Nagaland. We have the very important Karnataka election, and quickly thereafter, of course, we have Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and so on. All of this creates a momentum. All of this creates an environment, जिसको हिंदी में माहौल कहते हैं, going into the Lok Sabha elections of 2019. So we have to maintain the momentum. We have to maintain, the kind of results that we've been getting, which have been absolutely outstanding. We've obviously, won elections in 19 states, and so we want to get into the election season for the Lok Sabha with that kind of momentum. And to do that, of course, what we need to be able to do is to make sure that whether it is farmers, whether it is the youth, whether it is women, whether it's the middle class, for each of these different sections of society, we have met their expectations. And that's really, I think, the political context and the perspective with which we should really be looking at the budget. Okay. Now, of course, we can talk about what the economics of this are going to be, what is the derivative of the political perspective, and that is when we get into which sectors are going to benefit, what's going to happen to tax rates, what's going to happen to the overall fiscal situation. All of those then become a derivative of the political narrative, the political context that we will be trying to establish now.
Okay. Mr. Sinha, there's one view that, if what you're saying is right, in that case, if you win Karnataka as well, that's a big if, of course. In that case, is there possibility of general elections taking place simultaneously with big state elections like Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh? Because the momentum would be with you, and Mr. Modi also has in the past, stressed upon the need of simultaneous elections.
We are definitely winning Karnataka, and what happens next, you'll have to wait and see for that.
Okay, so there is a possibility that it's being considered, the simultaneous elections.
As I said, you'll have to wait and see what happens as the year progresses. Obviously, we are committed to building a new India, taking forward a message to the people of this country that only the Bharatiya Janata Party, the NDA, is in a position to build that new India and to build the India of our dreams. And that really is what we're committed to. That's what we want to demonstrate in the budget. And in that sense, again, I will repeat what I said earlier, is that good politics equals good economics. The two are not in contradiction with each other. It's a false trade-off to think that way. And we have demonstrated that with our budget so far, with the economic policies that we've followed. We've taken the necessary tough decisions on structural reform. We've enabled those structural reforms to be successful. We've laid the foundation in a very robust way.
Would be with you, and Mr. Modi also has in the past, stressed upon the need of simultaneous elections.
We are definitely winning Karnataka, and what happens next, you'll have to wait and see for that.
Okay, so there is a possibility that it's being considered, the simultaneous elections.
As I said, you'll have to wait and see what happens as the year progresses. Obviously, we are committed to building a new India, taking forward a message to the people of this country that only the Bharatiya Janata Party, the NDA, is in a position to build that new India and to build the India of our dreams. And that really is what we're committed to. That's what we want to demonstrate in the budget. And in that sense, again, I will repeat what I said earlier, is that good politics equals good economics. The two are not in contradiction with each other. It's a false trade-off to think that way. And we have demonstrated that with our budget so far, with the economic policies that we've followed. We've taken the necessary tough decisions on structural reform. We've enabled those structural reforms to be successful. We've laid the foundation in a very robust way for a new economy and a new India. Please recognize the economy is now moving into top gear. All the indicators are flashing positive. We have, I think, even an investment turnaround that's beginning to happen. Government's expenditure, particularly in terms of infrastructure and social capital, continues to be strong and will continue to be strong. So all those investments, the quality of our spending, all of those are both good politics as well as good economics. We must invest in our infrastructure, we must invest in our people, we must ensure that our governance is more efficient, that there are fewer leakages, and that benefits go to the people who are entitled to those. Those are the economic drivers of what we are trying to accomplish, and those are also very good politics, and they also create a narrative that takes us forward to a new India, creates the expectation and the confidence among the people that our government is the best government for them.
We really wish we had spoken to you maybe a week earlier, or at least a day earlier. You give us the best context and the best headline from now to 11 a.m. when the budget will come out. Look at the budget in the political context. So, I mean, I'm still asking you one last time. A little more taxes on the rich and more for jobs and more for farmers? Is that how we should read it?
Again, you'll have to wait for 11 o'clock when the speech is read out. But again, as I said, really our goal here is to work with each section of society, to work with farmers, to show them that all the resources that we've poured into rural infrastructure, that supporting them, that working on their behalf is paying them rich dividends, that we are enabling them to double their income. We want to show youth, and for the youth, what are the two most important things? Education and jobs. And those are the two things we want to focus on. Obviously, as far as women are concerned, the economic survey, as you know, was truly pretty in pink. Really was focusing on gender equality, really communicating to women that this is a government that supports them every step of the way, whether it is a bank account, whether it's a toilet, whether it's a gas cylinder. All of these things are things that we are committed to. For the middle class, it's obviously we've done a tremendous number of things as far as smart cities are concerned. I want to make a pitch for Udaan, which of course is something that has enabled us to connect tier 3 and tier 4 towns in an unprecedented, revolutionary way, of course. We've added 56 airports, 31 helipads to the aviation network. We've really built out the aviation network. We've connected Hubli, we've connected Allahabad, we've connected Darbhanga, we've connected Pantnagar. All of these kinds of cities that were not on the aviation map are being connected. And this is the kind of work that we're doing for the middle class and for the country in general. And we want those benefits, we want what we're doing for the country to be very, very clear and to be very apparent to everyone, because we are a young country, we are an impatient country, and we're all looking to the future with great hope and optimism. And all the survey data and all the interactions I have with people show that we are a country that is full of hope for the future, has tremendous optimism and confidence, and a tremendous support for Honorable Prime Minister, for the NDA. And it is those hope-filled eyes that we want to make sure that we will satisfy with this budget and the work that we do going forward.
All right, Mr. Sinha, we'll let you go on that note. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and giving us that lens with which we should be looking at the budget, the political budget. And I think that we got it right over there. Yes. I mean, we have often called it the action budget. Yeah.
More for farmers, more for infra, more for jobs, right? Coming up next, a check on all the stocks that is making the news this morning. Stay with us.